All right, everybody, welcome to this live stream. It's been months since I've done a live stream, and obviously, you don't see Monica in the background, so she's not here. She's working 8 days in a row. She's off for one, and then she's going to be working one more day after that. And the reason she's working so often these days is because she's trying to support us while I focus on our app. And if you guys have been following our channel for a while, then you probably know I've been working on this for the longest time. So we're finally at a point where thankfully we are going to be releasing our app probably in the next week, maybe 2 weeks or so. We're waiting for the App Store to approve everything. And if you guys have any questions, any comments, or anything like that, you can drop them in the chat. I hope you guys can see us on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. I'm streaming in 4K, so it might not work as well on LinkedIn or on Instagram. So if you guys really want to watch this live stream in the highest quality, then just go to our YouTube channel. It's going to be youtube.com/backslash at nurses to riches backslash streams. Okay, so if you guys have any questions while I'm talking, go ahead and drop it in the chat. It says can't post comments to most destinations. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so you guys will be able to post comments if you're on YouTube live right now. So if you have any questions, you're gonna have to do that on YouTube. Okay, and let's let me just talk about what we've been up to before I talk about the app. And I want to talk about what I've been doing now besides the app for the last 4 or 5 months. Okay, so about I would say back in September or August of September of last year, Monica and I decided that it was finally time for us to go to the Philippines. I've known Monica now for the last 20 years. I can't even believe I'm saying that. She's known me longer for longer than half of her life. That's how long she's known me for. And in this time, she's wanted to go to the Philippines, but she's always said that we need at least 3 weeks of time off, and we need to do it at a time when our daughter and our kids can go with us. So finally, our daughter was off from school the first 3 weeks of January. So we decided we were going to go to the Philippines this year in the beginning of January, and during that time, I think it's probably one of the best vacations we've ever had. I literally put everything down that I was so accustomed to doing. I was so accustomed to, posting videos on YouTube on a weekly basis. Sometimes I would post 2 times a week, and I didn't realize how exhausting and how stressful that became over time. Thankfully, I did have a video editor who was helping me with the edits. But when I went on vacation and I just dropped all of that, I wasn't posting any YouTube videos. It made me feel and realize how much I actually value spending time with family. And if any of you have ever tried to post videos on YouTube, you would know that YouTube is in a different ballpark than Instagram and TikTok and Facebook because it requires a lot of planning, a lot of time just to get a video published. So the process for posting one YouTube video, let me just walk you through it. Just to post one YouTube video, I first have to think about a title that would resonate with our subscribers. And then I have to think about um, the thumbnail that might go well with that title. And if that thumbnail does not look good or does not resonate well with the title or vice versa, it would make no sense for me to even post the video or plan the video, right? It has to be a really catchy thumbnail, has to be a really catchy title that people are interested in. And then I have to think about what type of research I'm going to do for that specific video. So all of this has to go into the planning phase before I even start filming the video. Then I have to think about the bullet points. What do I want to talk about in my video? And once I've come up with main points that I want to talk about, either I just start hitting the record button and go over some of those bullet points off the cuff of my head, like out off the cuff. I might just like wing it and follow the bullet points, but talk about that topic based on my real life experience, and just add a lot of commentary along the way. But I can also go the other route where I will actually write down an entire script, and this one's actually really important when I talk about data in our videos, because I do that a lot, and some of our videos is just like overwhelming amount of data, and I don't want to get the numbers wrong. So like, for example, I made a video last week or this past week where I talked about the uh, a pension calculator of a UC nurse versus a Kaiser nurse, and how much would that Kaiser nurse end up taking versus that UC nurse in retirement. I also, because the Kaiser nurse makes more than the UC nurse, I had to go to the drawing board and say, if this Kaiser nurse makes more money and they invested the difference and lived off the same income as the UC nurse, how much more would they have in retirement? So I made a video about that. And it actually turns out that the Kaiser nurse is going to end up with a lot more money than the UC Davis nurse. Um, Definitely more money than a UCSF nurse. But I didn't go over like 403Bs and 401Ks, because if you're living on the income of the UC Davis nurse, for example, you can both contribute the same amount to your 401ks. So that's why I didn't add that one. However, if you're working for the UC system, you can also contribute to a 457B, I believe it is. So you have an additional option for investing in retirement. Anyway, when I made that video, I had to go through all of these details. And let me just briefly show you what that spreadsheet looks like, because there's just like so much information that I have to pack into one video, and I need to make it in a way that it just doesn't bore people to death. Okay, so in my Google Sheets, I have so many videos and spreadsheets here. So let's see. Okay, this is not the one. I have a lot of them, like I mentioned. Let's see. Where is it? UC versus pension calculator. And this is the one that I typically um, I use in my videos now when I compare pensions. And if you guys are interested in this, oh, by the way, Professor Cutie Pie, it's been a long time. I haven't seen you in ages. What is up? So we currently have 18 people on the live stream. Okay, when we first started doing these live streams on YouTube, we ramped up our way to like over 100 viewers at a time. Right now we only have 18 on YouTube. I don't know how much we have on the other ones, but we have 18 on YouTube, and I just want to thank anybody who's on the live stream right now. uh, okay, so let me just show you this pension calculator. uh, okay, this is, I made three separate ones. So if you are a nurse working at UC Davis, this is the one that you would use, right? Like you put in your current age. So let's say you're 20, and all of them are tied in terms of age and retirement, current age and retirement age. They're tied to the UC one. So when you change this one, let's say you're 20 years old and you retire at 55, this is how much you would retire with at UC Davis. And your final salary that year is going to be $381,000 that specific year. Um, if you're a Kaiser nurse, though, your salary on that year, by the time you're 55, it's going to be 509,000, but your pension is only going to be 129,000. So if you look at this, the pension is like nearly half, right? Pretty much half of what the UC Davis nurse is going to get. However, if you go down and you look at the the UCSF nurse makes a lot more than the UC Davis nurse. They also make slightly more than the Kaiser nurse. If you look at the salary, and by the way, if you're thinking about where these salaries are coming from, they're coming straight out of the contract. Okay, so let me just show you what I mean. I'm going to share another screen, and I'm going to share with you my salary calculator, and it's for the top hospitals in California. Okay, so this one right here, and I hope you guys can see this. Hold on, let me just share it again. Share this tab. Okay. And if you have any questions, guys, while I'm presenting this, please feel free to let me know. Okay, all right, so I hope you can see this. This is my top salaries calculator. And actually, I updated the salaries. So they should say 2025. And I'm still working on getting the most recent ones, like for Washington Hospital and a few other hospitals. But the ones for Stanford, I believe UCSF, Kaiser, Sutter, and City of SF, Dignity, all the Dignity ones, Sutter, Roseville. These are all updated. All the UC ones are updated. And you should be able to see these to the most current rates if you use it. All right. So what I did was, let's pretend you're a nurse working at one of the UC hospitals or Kaiser Hospital, and you are working 36 hours a week. I believe I put 5 years of experience, and you're working, yes, I believe night shift, right? At Kaiser, you're bringing home 214,000. At UCSF is 222,000. And if you want to look at the hourly rate, you're going to click on hour per hour over here. And you got to change this to 0 because you're not working any number of hours. You just want to know what the hourly rate is. Okay, so if you go to the bottom, as a Kaiser nurse, you're going to be making $114 working night shift and $118, or basically $119 as a UCSF nurse. And then UC Davis is $85. So that's a huge difference if you look at that. UC Davis 85 versus Kaiser 114. All right. So I use that information then in my calculator, and I'm going to go back to the calculator. So share this tab instead. Okay, and I hope you guys can see that. Okay, yeah, you can. Uh, Now, when I go to the calculator, you can see that that's the parameters I set. You're making 160,000 at UC Davis, 214,000 at Kaiser, and 222,000 at UCSF. Now, you're taking home an annual pension of 332,000 at UCSF and only 129,000 at Kaiser. That's a huge difference, right? That's almost 3 times as much. But what some people fail to realize is that you're making more at Kaiser than the other, like let's say UC Davis. And if you invest that difference, because you're technically making just as much as the UCSF nurse, but if you invest the difference now that the UC Davis nurse makes, you're going to have, let's see, where is it? Here we go. Your investment portfolio, after all of those years, remember, you're there for 35 years, right? After all of those years is 22 million. So 35 years, and you're investing an additional, I have a chart right here, right? So every year the salary difference increases, right? So it's 55,000 the first year, it keeps going and going and going, and then by year 35, your salary difference between Kaiser and UC Davis is 128,000. So over time, you've actually been able to contribute more and more of your income towards retirement. And if it's at an 8% return with an S&P 500 index fund, then your pension, before you consider taxes or anything like that, only if you only consider the S&P 500, let's just go over the S&P 500, is $884,000. That's how much you can cash out yearly if you withdraw 4% of your investments when you retire, if you just invest the difference. But if you include the pension, that's $1.01 million per year. That's just ridiculous. Like, I can't even fathom that. Like, that's so much money. But if you factor in, let's say, taxes, like at the highest tax brackets, somewhere around like 43, 45%, is $557,000 compared to the UCSF one, which is 332,000. Now, the reason why as a UCSF nurse, I didn't invest the difference is because if you're working at UCSF and you're living in that area, then the cost of living is going to be higher if you choose to own a house. So there's very little room for you to invest. That's why I didn't put any additional after-tax income for the UCSF nurse in a S&P 500 index fund. Anyways, All right, I was ranting for a while. Now, again, if you guys have questions, I know there's 20 people in the chat. I wanted to talk about the other part of what we've been doing, and that is this app that we've been building. Now, if you guys have seen all these spreadsheets, you already know I love spreadsheets, but there's only so much the spreadsheets can do. And I'm all about salary transparency, right? Like I don't want my goal in life is to make sure there's no nurse in this country that is struggling financially. That's why I created the YouTube channel, because I want all nurses to be paid fairly. I want you all to be treated fairly. And I feel like creating this app is the closest I can get to that goal, than selling spreadsheets. So, oh, let me hide this. Okay, so the app is called Map My Pay, and I'm just gonna share my screen here. Again, present. Uh, we have a website for it right now, but we also have the app, and it's in development. It's in the last stages of its development. So this is the website. What I want you guys to do is, if you're in the chat or you watch this after it airs, I want you to click join the waitlist so you can be notified when this app goes live. So go to mapmypay.com, and I want you to click on join the waitlist. Now, what this app what this app is going to do is allow you to look at your current salary in the city and state that you live in, and compare that salary to other cities in the United States. There's over 590 cities in the US. Right now, what I've been doing is collecting the income data that the Bureau of Labor Statistics collects. I've been downloading all of this data. I actually have over 51 professions, but I'm going to implement that in the app later on. For example, if you're, let's say, a nursing student, or you want to become a nurse, then, or maybe you're undecided, you don't know if you want to be a nurse, or if you want to be a software engineer, or if you want to be, let's say, a doctor, a physician, you want to work in the ER as a physician, or you want to be an anesthesiologist. Most of the professions that I've gathered are healthcare related. There's about, I think, 48 of them are healthcare related. So we have physician assistant, we have nurse practitioner, nurse anesthetist, radiology tech, MRI tech, the semitrist. There's just, like, the list goes on and on and on. Paramedic, right? There's so many of them. And the Bureau of Labor and Statistics collects this data on a monthly basis, and they put out a report for all of them individually on, I believe it's a yearly or every 2 year basis. And you're able to download this data for free. Like I've shown you guys in my past videos how you can download it. And what I did was, through these spreadsheets, and let me just show you one of the spreadsheets, through the spreadsheets that I've sold, and it's on our website, nursestoriches.com, if you want to download those spreadsheets. But I'm hoping the app will solve these problems. Okay, so in the spreadsheet, you can actually select, let me know if you can see this or if you can't. Okay, there's 27 of you in the chat. Again, we used to have hundreds of people, but I haven't done a live stream in such a long time. Okay. Thanks to everyone who joined in. If you have questions, let me know in the comments. Okay. So in this spreadsheet, basically what you're able to do is, let's say you want to find out what the salary is going to look like for a registered nurse in any particular state. You can select the state from this drop down list. So, like, if I would just want to look at California salaries, I can select that, right? I can even look at a particular city. So if you just want to look at a city, you can do that. But that doesn't make sense for me. You just want to look at one city, where you can scroll down the list instead, and you can sort the list by any parameter you want. So, like, let's say I want to look at um, how much I have left over annually if I own. So if owning. And now it updates, right? So it's going to show me from highest to lowest how much, the cities that are going to leave me with the most amount of money. That's what I that's what I am aiming to do with the app. Something to that effect. So, and the way that I find out the mortgage payments and the home prices is basically I just go online and I did so much research trying to find out individual like the market home prices for every single city on this list. That's what I used to do initially, but now we have programs that are doing this for us. Okay, so the median home price in this city is Vallejo, California, and I know some people. I've said Vallejo, California, right? That's how you say it in Spanish. But some people who are from California are like, oh, you got to say Vallejo. Okay, I'm gonna say Vallejo for this video. It's 537,667. By the way, Vallejo means like little valley in Spanish. That's why I'm like I say it in Spanish. Okay, so 537,000, but the median annual salary is 164,000. Look at the taxes. $52,000 here you're paying in taxes. So you have $112,000 left. The home price is 537,000. The mortgage payments with taxes and everything are about 4,097. So you have $63,000 left over, right? That's city number one. You can also find out how much you have left over if you choose to rent. Somebody suggested this a long time ago, and it took me such a long time to really implement it in here, but you can find out how much you have left over now if you choose to rent, because not everybody wants to own, right? And Oakland, California is the best, right? And this is in California. But if I delete it, watch what happens. So I'm going to click away. It's still, right? Well, now did it load? Yeah, it's still Oakland. Okay. If you scroll down the list, the next best city is Longview, Washington. Okay. That's how, look at all the cities in California. There's literally at least 20 cities in California before you get to one that's out of state. That's how much better you're going to be if you end up moving to California as a nurse, working in California, and renting. Because if you choose to own, it's different. Like, let me just show you. Left over annually if owning. Look at that. So you have Vallejo, then you have Flint, Michigan, you have Redding, California, Fairbanks, Fairfield, et cetera, et cetera. Right? And one of the cool things you can do with this is, okay, so if you select a role from the dropdown, but instead of doing that, you actually want to compare different roles, you can do that. Let's say I select registered nurse. I also want to compare that to physician assistants, for example. So let's look at physician assistants. And then maybe I want to also do nurse practitioners. And then healthcare managers, maybe you want to go into management. Okay, now let's see what that looks like, because these check boxes are actually going to supersede and override what you select over here. Okay, so once you select something on the left, it's going to override what you have in the dropdown. So make sure you unselect these things over here on the left in order to select just one row from the dropdown list. Okay, so physician assistants are number one if you compare all those rows. And then you have nurse practitioners, right? But it flip flops between the two of them, if you can see here. And this is if you choose to own, right? And obviously, it's in locations nobody really wants to live in. I should mention that because a lot of people say, why would you even suggest anybody move to like Corcoran, California? I would never. Trust me, I would never, because I know what it looks like. And same thing, I think somebody told me about Port Arthur. Who would want to live there? Okay. So you can compare all this. And my hope is that we're going to be able to do this for you guys in the app. Actually, it's already in the works. We are able to show you guys. And I'm going to show you kind of like the wireframe of what it looks like. I really was hoping to show you guys the app in its final form today, but we need to fix some issues with it before I show you. So I'm going to show you what the Figma file looks like. And if you don't know what Figma is, it's basically like a design program. Okay. So, and I see there's some questions in the chat. There's Gladiator right over here. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. We also have Emmanuel Rodriguez. Don't make enough to keep living in the Bay. Make enough for a commute from SAC, but a long commute. This app would help. Yeah. And that's another thing. I realized that there's nurses out there that don't just want to uproot everything that they know, leave and go somewhere else that they're not familiar with. There's nurses that have their entire family nearby. So I thought at the very least, I can show nurses cities that are nearby that they can move to where they can keep more money at the end of their paycheck and at the end of their living expenses, right? So ultimately, what I want to do is include other living expenses in the app. Let's say you're a registered nurse, and yeah, we know what the median home costs are, and that's in the city that you live in, but maybe you can add in your actual expenses so that you can transfer those expenses to the city that you're going to be moving to, and we can incorporate the cost of living factor to what you already spend in the new city to let you know how much you're actually going to keep when you factor in that cost of living. So there's a lot, guys. There's always constantly, I always have so much stuff going through my head. I'm not even lying. Like, I love doing this. That's why I'm so obsessed with it. I do not stop thinking about it. So if I ever leave nursing the bedside, it's because I am obsessed with data. I'm obsessed with helping nurses increase their income, reduce their expenses, and invest their income. Okay, so let me just show you guys. Yeah, somebody. I'm going to answer more questions, but you guys keep dropping those questions in the chat. I'm going to show you what the app looked like in its basic form, and you're going to see what it's going to look like in its most recent form, probably either next week or the week after that. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Hold on. Okay, window, entire screen here. Figma. Okay. So this is what the app looks like, I should say what it did look like back before we implemented some changes. Okay, and again, if you have any questions, guys, put them in the chat. Okay, um, let's see. Here we go. Figma, where are you? Let me move this. All right. So it's called Map My Pay. The reason I chose Map My Pay is because honestly, it was the only website that had a social media handle on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and it had a website. So, and I thought, okay, map my pay. I want to see a map with my pay. That's the way I viewed it. I know it doesn't say nurse in it, but ultimately, we're going to allow you guys to see more salaries. So, this is what I went with. And believe it or not, I used an AI program to come up with the logo too. So, that's the logo it came up with. I took the logo, put it in Photoshop, and I vectorized it. Actually, Photoshop doesn't really have vectorization, but I made it into individual pieces so that I can move it around if I need to. And I added my own text. Okay, so this is the logo. You're going to create an account, and or you can log in with right now we only have Google, Facebook, and Instagram, but we're going to add Apple also to that. And okay, once you create an account, we need you to follow these steps. You don't have to, you can skip all of it if you want, but if you want to personalize this app, then you want to follow these steps. You select the role that describes you. So if you're a registered nurse, in your profile, in the homepage, you're going to see personalized information just for registered nurses, right? If you're LPN or whatever, if you're none of these, you can click other, because some people are not even in the field and they want to get in the field. So you can select other. How many years of experience do you have? This is a question that we're asking for future purposes, because when we my goal is to allow nurses to ultimately upload their contracts, um, or show proof of their income or wages, so that now we can see like objective data and find out if other how much other nurses could earn with their level of experience in whichever city they choose, right? So that's why we're asking that initially. This one is like, what are you most interested in? Do you want to make more money? Is it the cost of living or the safety factor? Because a lot of people, they may want to move to another city, but they're afraid that even though they may get paid more money, the crime is really high, and you don't want to live in a city where the crime is really high and you fear for your life every time you leave work or you go to work, right? Especially people with families. I think that's even more important. or single women, men, it doesn't matter. People care about their safety. Okay, then you choose the state that you live in. Actually, this will allow you, again, this is an old version. You're going to select the city and the state that you live in. And then here, what city and states you are interested in. Again, this will allow you to select multiple cities, right? So we will have that option. And then I want you all to add either your Facebook, your Instagram, or your LinkedIn profiles to here. You can just type in your username, because you would be able to share some of the stuff that you see in the community, or if there's like a page that you're really interested in that you found some data about, you can share it with your friends, and also you can share the app with your friends. That's what I'm hoping you guys will be able to do. All right, so again, this is going to give you real salary data, objective salary data directly from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, cost of living comparisons, your take home pay analysis. It'll let you know how much you're going to be able to take home. You're going to be able to look up salaries quickly. So you can select the salary range that you're interested in, and I'll show you what that looks like later. You can search by a location, and you can compare different markets like cities. All right, so let's just go to the first screen. Again, this is a work in progress. I don't like 100% how this screen looks. I want to provide very detailed and valuable information that you guys will be able to use over and over and over again, right? So I don't just want like static information. But however, this screen will take you to your homepage. It'll tell you what your current salary is. And in the final app, you actually can click, there's an icon. You can click on it to input your current salary where you live. So, like, let's say you live in Boston, Massachusetts. You can click on it, type in your salary. Let's say you make $100,000 a year, and you type in. You can click on this one for housing. Select how much you pay for housing on a yearly basis, and then what happens is when you click on a city down here that you can add for comparison's sake, when you click on a city, it'll tell you what the net difference is. And again, this was actually updated. This doesn't look like this at all anymore. It'll tell you how much more you're going to have left over if you move to that particular city. Because right now, let's say you're taking you would bring an extra $10,000 a year if you move to Boston from your current city, or Seattle from your current city. However, the housing costs are going to be $4,000 more, $4,700 more. So you're bringing in $4,700 less because of housing. So it will tell you, if you move to Seattle, Washington, you are going to have, let's say, $5,300 less per year. Or yeah, this one is monthly, right? So let's say that's monthly. Per month, you can change it to yearly or monthly if you move to this city. Okay, and you can add as many cities as you want. You can also add more roles. Again, they updated this. So you can select different roles that you want to compare your current salary to, in the same way that you can for registered nurses. But initially, we're only going to have access to, I believe it's like 8 different roles. One of them is nursing assistants, licensed practical nurse, nurse managers and administrators, nurse practitioners, nurse anesthetists, registered nurses, and nurse midwives. And there's one other, I forget the other one, but you'll have access to all of those. In the future, we're going to add more, and we're going to have more features, but we're going to have a premium model for those people. And we're hoping to incorporate CEUs to that. So, like, if you decide to move to a city right now, let me show you. Okay, this is the search bar, right? Let's say you search for a city, you type it in here, and right now it just says Boston for all of them, right? This is just like a generic screen. It says Boston for all of them, and at the bottom of each of these cities, it will actually tell you you will have this much left over in this city after taxes and your mortgage expenses or your housing expenses. It'll tell you that for all these cities, right? But you can also set different parameters. You can select the city that you want to filter by. You can select the salary. You can select the role. There's also more options that we've added. So that's going to be in the final version. Okay, but once you click on a city, it takes you to this screen. Again, this is an old screen, right? So the updated one has more information on it. It'll tell you how much you're going to have left over and give you more detail about that city. We're going to incorporate more things onto this, guys. So like just stay tuned. There's a lot of features that you guys are going to find useful, including the hospitals in these areas and any job listings they may have for those particular hospitals if you're interested in applying directly through our app. We're also going to have licensing requirements because that's important, right? Like if you've decided that you want to move to a new city, now you can go to this, the search page, click on this city, and find out what the licensing requirements are for all of the cities on our list. Because I mean, well, every state is located in a city, right? So every state is going to have different licensing requirements, and you're going to get updated data for every single state. You can find out how many CEUs are required. Now you can't see it here, like I can't click on it, right? But in the app you can. And we are incorporating CEUs in our app. And we're working on a pricing model. It's going to be incorporated into our premium plan. So if you're a free user, then you have access to the CEUs through our app, right? All of you have access. But if you're like a plus member, and mind you, anyone who accesses the CUs through our app will get it at like, I believe we're trying to work a deal, guys. Don't quote me on it yet, but we're trying to make it as competitive as possible. And we're trying to make it competitive with the bigger CEU companies out there like NetCE. So we're trying to offer a pricing model similar to that. If you take the CEUs through here, you can do that. And they'll be priced similar to the most competitive CU companies. If you have the plus plan, we're going to give you a discounted rate, right? So let's say you pay, for example, we're kind of working on the pricing right now, but let's say it's $6.99 a month, right? And you have access to all the features and then some, all of these features that we're going to be adding. It's $6.99 a month, and you also get the CEUs offered at we're working on it about 75% off for the plus plan. If you get it with the premium plan, we're trying to see if we can do 50%, but don't quote me on it. But just imagine you have access to this app, and I didn't even get to the community section yet, right? Where you can chat with nurses and post your salaries and your pay stubs. But you have access to all of this plus the premium version, and you'll be able to compare your salary ultimately to any profession in our database. So that's over 50 professions that we will have later on. You're going to be able to see all these job listings. Hopefully in the future, we're going to try to implement these job listings so you can see them immediately in real time as they're posted. And you can apply for them, or you can connect with the recruiters through our app. You will also have access to the CEUs at 50% off. So think about it. You're already paying for CEUs anyway, right? But to be able to get them through our app, and you only have to pay $6.99 a month, or actually at that point, we're probably going to make it like, I don't know, maybe either $9.99 or $12.99 a month, but you can get a discount if you pay annually, right? Think, considering that you are getting the CEUs half off, which most places they charge at least $50 for CEUs, and you're getting them for $25, you're already getting a deal there, right? In addition to all the stuff that I'm going to be explaining here, right? Okay, so that's for the CEUs. We're implementing a lot of things. We're also going to try to help nurses with their move because we're trying to reduce the stress and headache that nurses have to go through when it comes to moving to a new location and applying for work somewhere else. And you know what? Hold on, I think my screen is a little bright. So let me just darken it a little bit. Hold on a second. It's just like I removed the blackout curtains over here, so now everything is super bright. Let's see. I think that should do it a little bit, and I'm going to increase the aperture. Okay. All right, this should work. Okay, so, all right, I hope everybody's still with me. That's a little bit darker, but okay. Right, so this is this page here, the search page, when you click on it. If you scroll down, this page will allow you to see the demographics of the city that you want to move to. So if you want to find out what the education level is like, the racial diversity, the gender, and the age of the population in that area, you can see that through this search feature here. You can also see the monthly temperatures of the location. Some people don't want to live in a location that has too much heat or too much cold. You can see that on the app. We also, for the Plus and the Premium members, they will have access to the features that we implement immediately. So, for example, we want to add a walkability score. Some people want to be able to walk in the places or to the places that they live in, or around the places that they live in. So we want to implement that in there. And for people who have families, we want to be able to show you the school grades, because you don't want to go to a city where the schools are terrible if you have kids. So we understand that, and we're going to add that feature to here. And I know, every time I'm looking for an apartment on Zillow, for example, I always want to know what the school grades look like, because that to me is really important. Like, I really care about that. And I'm sure that a lot of people who are, who have families and kids, they really care about that too. So that's something that we're looking to implement on there. Okay. Then if we go to the next page, uh, and if you guys have suggestions, please drop it in the chat. Like, and if you're liking this, the way that it looks, if there's things that you dislike about it, just let me know. And yeah, we're gonna try to implement that. Now, there's another tab. It's at the bottom. Wait, let me see if I can show you right here. Okay, you can't see it there. Okay, this is an investment tab, or a uh, retirement calculator, basically, or an investment return calculator. When you select your role here, so like let's say you select registered nurse, and then you select the state and the city. These other numbers automatically populate, but you'll be able to edit it eventually, right? Like, we can edit it in the app right now, but you can't do it over here. So what happens is, when you select the state and the city, this salary will be pulled from our database, because we have the median salaries, right? So the salary is pulled from our database. And let's say this automatically enters a 10% contribution rate, current age of, like, let's say 25, and retirement age of 60 or 65. You'll find out how much your projected retirement savings are based on that contribution rate and the salary for every city you've selected. So if you select a different city, it's going to change the current salary, which also means it's going to change your projected retirement savings. And we want to incorporate more things into this, but this will let you know how much you're going to have by the time you reach retirement. And every city is going to give you a different amount, right? So that's another feature there. And then we have uh, this feature here, which again, it's a work in progress, but we're getting there. This is our community page, where finally I want nurses to be able to communicate with each other, share their salaries, share their pay stubs, share their contracts. And I want to be able to do this through the community tab, but also I'm going to implement a different feature in the future to be able to do that. Here, you can post your pay stubs and ask nurses if you get, like, for example, I've seen this on Reddit before, where in the salary subreddit, where they'll post a pay stub and they'll ask if it's a decent salary for somebody in their profession. That's something we can do in our app too. And you can share all of that with your friends. Right now we can only share images. I don't want to share videos yet, because I don't want to overload our servers. We're not even generating income in order to do that, right? So in the future, we will be able to add videos there. But for now, just share your pay stubs, share your experiences with the hospitals you work in, and anything else. This is our community, guys. This is where I want all of us to go. I want it to be an all-in-one nursing app, so we can all communicate with each other, and have finally some transparency in the field that doesn't exist anywhere else. And I want all of us to benefit from this. Okay, so I see there's questions. Let me see if I can answer some questions. Okay, the app. Okay, so let me just start from the top. Okay, let me start. There's a lot of questions. Okay, there's 35 of you. Thank you for joining, if you guys are in here right now. And let's see. Okay, so we have Lux Pri I think Lux Private Media. Thank you for saying nice work. We also have no income tax in Texas and minimum corporate taxes. That's very true. That's very true. But I've made a lot of videos, man. If you look at all these videos, and I've done a lot of research, at the end of the day, a nurse working in Northern California is still able to bring home more money than somebody who lives and works in Texas. You can watch all the videos. I have so many of them. I've done like very extensive research on this. I've looked at the cost of housing and various other things for all of these cities in the US. And California still ends up at the top. Okay. What's the app called? It's called Map My Pay. Let me show you again, mapmypay.com. I want all of you, if you're in the chat, please go to our website, and I want you to hold on. I want you guys to sign up to be notified, because I need as many people as possible to be aware of the app when we launch it. So this is our website at the moment. It's called mapmypay.com. And you can go right over here, click on join waitlist, and it'll take you to our newsletter so that you can subscribe to the newsletter and be notified when we post something or when we release the app. Okay. I built this myself, so it looks awful, but our development team built the website, which is why the website looks really good, right? Yeah, so you'll be able to compare your cities, one city to another. We'll have a community just like this, like I said, right? You'll be able to share the pay stubs, where people can comment, and you can put a title to it. Like this person said, "This is my pay stub after working 76 hours this pay period. What do you guys think about my salary? I don't feel like it's enough in New York City." And then people are commenting on it. Wow, working 76 hours at $42 an hour and still only taking home 2,600. Yeah, like this is exactly why nurses need to know their real take home pay. Anyways, yeah, this is the website, mapmypay.com. I'll even drop it in the chat. Go to our website, mapmypay.com, and um, okay, subscribe to be notified when we launch. There you go. Okay, it's in the chat. All right, next question. Let's see. Ever think of getting into healthcare informatics as an RN? Sounds like it will suit you well. Well, no, not at all, honestly, because I love working on my own things. As you guys can probably see by all these videos already, I really enjoy being my own boss and working on my own time. Okay, hold on. Let me just increase the brightness a little bit on my camera because it's a little bit on the dark side. Okay, there. This should be better. Okay, so yeah, I've interviewed people who are nurse informatics, and although it sounds like a decent job, I love building things myself. Like I built Python scripts. I actually had to take Python classes from a private instructor that I found on Fiverr. I was only paying her like $10 per class, which is like 1 hour class, $10 per class. So if you guys want to learn programming, that's a good way to do it. Just hire a private programmer to help you learn, and you don't have to pay them much. I was doing it, I believe it was sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times a week. And yeah, that's what I was paying her. Like 20 to $30 a week, which is insane. That's really low, right? Like that's better than tuition. Okay. So then we have, let's see, do you have a design for contract medical professionals? A design. Hmm. No, I do not. And right now, we're just really kind of focused on, and I think what you mean by that is probably like 1099 employees or you travel contracts. Like, no, we don't have that yet. We're kind of focusing more right now on benefited nurses that work permanently for the hospitals, because those are the ones that are the most underpaid at the moment. So I think that's what we want to focus on primarily, or yeah, and not just nurses, but like employees that are benefited, um, because travel nurses and travel locum employees, they actually earn a lot more per hour than the employees that work at the hospitals. Okay, can eliminate most of those taxes by owning and operating as a C corp. Yeah, we are working on that too. But yes, you're right. That's true. Most people can do that, but not most people are not most people, right? They're not willing to do that. They're not. So most people are not willing to like go over that hurdle and file as a C corp in order to do that. But that's true. That's the reason why we started our business, because that's the way you can save the most amount in taxes. You have the most amount of write-offs is if you own a business. You're considered a business, because as an employee, there's only so many taxes you can save, so many deductions you can have. Right? There's a very fine, small limit to how much you can invest, how much you can write off in your taxes. Okay, next question. This is comprehensive. I like the layout, very user friendly. Thank you so much. Man, it's taken, believe it or not, like I had this layout of what I wanted the app to look like such a long time ago. And I never went through with it, but uh, finally we were able to hire a development team. And initially it was all out of pocket. Like I was paying for it out of pocket. And then I started talking about my idea with my fellow coworkers. And one of my coworkers, she's like one of my best friends at work. This girl and I, she's a nurse. Her name is Sumit. She's my co-founder now, okay? Because all her and I always do is talk about finance, business, all of the time. And her husband own a trucking company, and she's also a real estate agent. She is also very smart with her money. She's invested in multiple. She's done option trading. She owns her house outright because she's that smart, and she was able to put money down in her house that a condo that she was able to sell, and then use that revenue and the income to buy her own house. So she's really intelligent, and she's such a go-getter. So I've actually made her my. For now, she's like my COO, my chief operating officer, and she's in charge of just contacting the agencies that we need to contact to partner with them, be affiliated with them so we can implement their services in our app. And every day lately we've been having a meeting with either a COO of a company or just people in higher ups. Like I never thought that would happen, but a lot of people have been interested in this app, which is, I mean, I wanted that to happen, but I didn't think it was going to happen so soon. So I'm glad that it's getting there, because we have a lot of competitors, and one of our competitors, actually, we don't have a lot of competitors, but one of them is a major competitor, and I don't want to say their name on this live stream because I don't want them to know. But if you know anything about the nursing industry, then you know there's not many companies out there that are doing something even close to what we're doing. None, right? So I feel like and also there's companies that have been created out there that haven't even been created by nurses, but are for nurses. And that makes no sense to me. I need to create, I wanted to create an app by nurses for nurses, right? And I remember a while ago, I posted, let me just show you guys. This is insane. Actually, I can't even show it to you because like emails are in that file. But I posted a story on my Instagram. This was like right before I decided to actually proceed with this idea, and hire a development team. I posted a story on Instagram, just one story for one day, asking any of our followers if they may be interested in partnering up with us, whether that's helping us with the marketing, helping us spread the word, helping us with like any legal requirements, or helping us economically, like with capital. And believe it or not, the number that we were minimum amount of capital we would be able to raise is 85,000 at least. This was before we even had an app, right? 85,000 or up to 800 $450,000 to create this app. I haven't accepted any funds from anybody. All of this is coming out of pocket right now. And my co-founder, thankfully, her and I were going just half and half on everything. Today, we just had a meeting with a tech developer, like a software developer, and we're going to be hiring him. We already offered him the position. And all of this is new to us, guys. Like, this is like a work in progress. If you guys have never started a company, it's like you're figuring things out as you go along. I don't know how to run a major corporation, but I'm learning as I go. Okay. It's really hard. And I'm making a lot of mistakes along the way. Like when I talk to my development team, I'm like, what is this guy talking about? So I have to go on ChatGPT or Google to have it interpret what it is that our development team is saying. But it's crazy with the internet these days because you can figure it out, right? Like I literally will just paste the screenshots of our conversation into ChatGPT, and I'll tell ChatGPT, please tell me how to do this. For example, today I had to create an Amazon Web Services, I believe that's what it's called, AWS account. I've never done that before. That's an account basically where it's a cloud service that allows you to host your app on like a cloud, on the cloud. And all of the data can be stored in this cloud. And the cloud means basically it's on the internet. It's not in your home computer. So all of the data that you have doesn't have you don't have to carry your computer with you everywhere you go, because it's all going to be located in the internet. So when people need access to your data, they don't need to have access to your computer. They can have access to the server, the data on the server. So for me, I was like, what is he even saying? I had to like really go through it. And thankfully, ChatGPT literally walked me through every single step of that process. And this happened with everything. Like we had to share our Hostinger account, because we use Hostinger to host our website. Like in order to have a website, you need a domain, you need a host, like a web host, you need all these things. I've built my websites before, like I've done that before. However, I had to share our credentials with this company, like so they can create our website, right? Because it's hosted on WordPress. This is a lot of gibberish to a lot of people, but believe me when I say a lot of this was gibberish to me when I first started too. Okay, so like I'm learning. All right. So let me see if I can answer some more questions while we're at it. Let's see. Okay, thank you, Lovely, for saying that this is comprehensive. Thank you so much. And okay, how much is the app? The app is free. Okay, it's free for everybody. The only thing is that we are going to add features to it that will require a monthly subscription. So if you want to compare your salary, your current salary, to another city, you can do that. But we will eventually place limits to how many cities you compare, because we don't want to overload our servers, right? So we will place limits eventually, and you can either get a plus membership, which is I think is going to be $6.99, and you also get access to the CEUs 75% off. Hopefully, 75% off by the time we launch it. Yeah, which means if it's $50, I think it's gonna be let's see, 275, something like $35, something like that, right? Let me see, 50 times point 0.7. I should know this, right? Because there's 100, 75. Okay, let's see, times 0.75 is 37.5. Okay, now I'm a math guy, right? And I had to Google that. Okay, so you get access to those to the CUs at for $37 if we can get to that point, because we're speaking with this CU company, and they charge way more than that, but they love the concept of our app so much, and they saw our following on social media, that they're willing to bring that all the way down to our level. So we're hoping that we can give you guys a really high discount if you're a plus member. And again, there's so many features I want to add to it. The budgeting feature, so you guys can actually see how much more you'll be able to take in a different city based on how much you already spend now, right? Because we're going to factor in the cost of living, many factors, like the cost of groceries where you live is different than the cost of groceries somewhere else. Cost of gas is different where you live than it is somewhere else. So we want to implement all those things in there. And everything that I'm saying is an idea, right? So either it may be implemented, either it won't, but I want it to. And so far, I've been able to get most of what I've wanted in the app. Okay. So it's going to be free for everybody. You can access the community for free. You can access the investment calculator for free. I just want you guys to use it. Please share it with your friends. That's what I want. Okay. Um, how do you get the app? Okay. The app is not live yet because, again, I didn't know all of this. I also need a Dun and Bradstreet number. If you guys don't know what that is, it's like a credit report, like a credit account, business account. That if you're a business, it's like, when you go to Equifax or TransUnion and you have your credit, you pull your credit report, that's your personal credit report. But if you have a business, you need a different type of report, an account. And that's why you need to create a Dun and Bradstreet account and get a number, because when you want to host an app on the App Store or the Play Store, you need this number in order to create that account and upload your app. And I didn't know that. Again, my development team didn't tell me this because they're located in India, right? which is why we're hiring a developer who's located in the US, who has worked with US companies and really understands all of this. So we can prevent wasting time in the future. Okay, so subscribe and join our waiting list on that Map My Pay website, so that we can share. Let me see if I can share this here. Okay, Map My Pay, right? This is the website. You guys go to it and just click on join right here, right? Click join, and you will be notified when we go live. Actually, can you even see that there? Let me see. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Okay, click join. Join the wait list, and you will be notified when we go live right over here, or right over here. Okay. Let's go and answer a few more questions. I don't want to be on this forever. I know you guys probably are going to get bored. We have 36 people on the chat. Thank you guys. Again, the app is free. Okay. It's going to be free for you guys, especially the first people for the first month. Definitely free for everybody. No questions asked. Okay. Okay. And then somebody said, maybe I missed it, but does selecting a city in the app list out the highest paying hospitals? Not yet. You're reading my mind. I will include that, but that's going to require a lot of work. I will include that because, if you think about it, we have to go through all of the contracts, right? Not all cities have unionized hospitals. The majority of states don't even have unions, right? Like, actually, they do, but it's hard to find a hospital that does have a union. Many of them are privatized without unions. So what we need to do is we need to create a program that looks up all of the contracts in the US right now, because unless you guys are willing to upload them manually, which what I would prefer, honestly, we have to go through the internet, find the contracts in PDF format, and then we need that program to look through the pages, find the wage schedule or structure, and then take that data from the table and put it in our database, and then link those hospitals to the city that you're searching for. There's a lot of that's going to be involved, which is why our premium members are going to have access to that first, because it's going to require a lot of work on our part. And we're also paying our developer right now out of pocket, guys. We're not generating any income from this app whatsoever at all, but we still hired a developer because we don't know how to do all of this. So our developer will work on that, and if we hire another one, hopefully we can get there faster. All right. Other question. Let's see. Hello, love the content from Isaiah. The California versus Texas nurse. Was that example regarding staff nurses versus travel nurses? California versus Texas. Everything that I talk about is staff nurses. So believe it or not, nurses in California at this moment get paid more than travel nurses if these nurses are working in Northern California. Now, I've shared this before, but let me just share it again, because it's ridiculous how much these nurses. Now, I shouldn't say ridiculous. It is the right way to approach nursing, because nurses in Northern California get paid what they deserve, unlike nurses in other parts of the country. All right, so let me just share this tab. Let me know if you guys can see it. I'm going to enlarge it. Hold on a second. Okay, so let me know in the chat if you have a hard time seeing it, but there you go. Okay, and look at this. The hourly rate for a night shift nurse with 5 years of experience in these hospitals: Kaiser 114, Stanford 118, UCSF 118, almost not 119, El Camino 119. And if you're a new grad, 0 years of experience, look at this night shift at Kaiser, $96 an hour. What? At Stanford, 101. That is insane. There's no way any nurse in the US is going to make that much money. Okay? So Northern California is where it's at, regardless of the cost of living, even. Okay? Because when you're making this much, let's look at a scenario here. because I also have an after tax calculator in this spreadsheet. I forgot to mention that. We will include that in our app in the future. That's the plan. Okay, so let's say you want to find out what your yearly salary is going to be. You want to work, let's say, 36 hours a week with 0 years of experience. You're a brand new grad. This is how much you would make on nights: 179,000 at Kaiser, 184 at UCSF, 189 at Stanford. But you want to know how much you actually take home, right? Well, that's what this is for at the bottom over here. Click on tax sheet. And now, by the way, this is if you want the spreadsheet right now before it's ever implemented on our app, because it's going to take a long time, go to nursestoriches.com. Okay. Nursestoriches.com. I have all these spreadsheets. I even have our coaching program in there. Okay. So you can now select whether you're filing single, married, filing separately, married, filing jointly, et cetera, et cetera. You can select whether you want to contribute to your 401k. So like, let's say you want to max it out, and the maxing out is, this is on a monthly basis, right? So you got to put 1916. But I'm going to leave that off for now. And let's just go to the bottom. You want to find out what your pay is on a monthly basis? You can do that. Or you can find out what it is on a daily basis. This is after tax, right? Weekly, bi-weekly. Let's just go with annually, monthly. Let's go with monthly. So this one shows you the yearly. They work independently, right? So this one shows you yearly, but you can select monthly there too. And let's do that actually, so I can show you the difference. Okay, so before taxes, you're making $14,996 at Kaiser and $15,788 at Stanford. Now, let's go back to this tax sheet, and it automatically changes now because I've already set my parameters. I'm bringing home 9,651 at Kaiser, 10,168 at Stanford. That's insane. Like that's not going to happen where you live. It's not. So even if you're paying $3,000 a month for your living expense, which, I mean, like if you're in a high cost of living area like San Francisco, and you're paying $3,000 a month for rental, you're still left with 6,651. Now, that's if you work the bare minimum. But if you're smart, like I always tell nurses to be, and this is a new grad, right? This is as a new grad. If you're smart, just pick up an extra 4 hours a week, and then look what that looks like. 4 hours a week is 11,162 at Kaiser, 11,691 at UCSF. This is as a new grad, guys. If you have more experience, let's say you have, I don't know, 5 years of experience. And I should also mention there's a caveat to this, because if you're working, let's say at Kaiser, for example, or UCSF, or like one of these hospitals, your experience outside of the hospital when you're coming in does not translate exactly to what you're going to have when you work there. So for example, if you're a Kaiser employee and you want to work at Kaiser and you have 10 years of experience, they're only going to credit you 5 years for 5 years of experience. So let me put it this way. You have 2 years of outside experience. You come in with Kaiser as a person with only 1 year of experience. That's what they'll accept. If you have 4 years of experience outside of Kaiser, they'll give you credit for 2 years. So you're going to come in as someone with 2 years of experience. So let's just go back and see. If you're someone who has 10 years of experience and you come into Kaiser, then you're going to come in as someone with 5 years of experience, because that's all they'll give you credit for. That's the limit, right? So if you're someone who wants to work 36 hours a week, 5 hours of experience, you're working night shift, and you pick up an extra 4 every week, your gross pay is $20,879 a month. At El Camino, see, now it flip-flops, right? Before it was Stanford. But based on the number of years of experience or the shift that you're working, or because you can select different shifts. Like let's say you want to do the base pay, evening shift, so on and so forth. You can select that here. It changes. These hospitals, the list is going to change based on those parameters. It's going to update dynamically. Okay, so 20,000 at Kaiser. Let's go and see how much that is after taxes. Okay, so after taxes, you're bringing home this one right here. Let me just select it. $13,082. Even if you're paying $3,000 a month, you're still left with $10,000 a month? What can you do with $10,000 a month? Just imagine. That is unbelievable money. That's life-changing money for a lot of people. I mean, I remember before I became a nurse, I used to think there was no, well, I used to have high hopes, right? Like I wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted to do all of this. But when I started working as a nurse in New York City, I said to myself, there's no way I'm going to be able to make more than, let's say, eight or $9,000 a month unless I'm working myself to the bone. And when I moved to California is when I really got to experience a world of nursing that I wish every nurse in this country would be able to experience. Because California is not like any other state, especially for nurses. We have better employee laws here than any other state. When I took my parental leave, I was gone from work for like 5, almost 6 months, guys. Now, part of that 4 weeks of that time frame were not paid, but that's because eight of them were paid. And the way that I planned it out is I was only working 5 days a week of every 2 weeks anyway. So if I take those 5 days off, I'm off for 3 weeks. I was able to take almost 6 months off when our son was born. Okay. And this is why I'm always talking highly about California. This is where nurses, especially, I should say, Northern California, guys, don't get me wrong with this one. It's Northern California. Okay. Now, let's see. I know you guys have a lot of questions. Oh my gosh. Oh, we have more people. We got 40 people now. It was only like 18 people when I started. All right, let's see. I think I missed the question. Where is it? Uh, so Monica used to do my moderation before, but she's sleeping. She's working 9 days in total in the next week and a half, guys. So, man, it's because of Monica that we are where we are today, too, because she works a lot harder in our W-2 jobs than I do. And we would not be here if it weren't for her. So I just got to say that you guys got to get yourself a partner that, is willing to go all the way with you in order to make your dreams come true. And it has to be vice versa, right? Because the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want Monica to ever have to work a day in her life again unless she wants to. That's why I want to do that. I want to make sure that my kids, my family is secure for the rest of their lives. But I also want to give back to every nurse in this country. And I want to, I want to give back to people in need. Like that's my goal. Like I don't say that often, but I look and I grew up, first of all, I grew up low income poor, right? It was my mother who raised me. She could barely speak English and she had to raise 4 kids on her own. She had to work 3 jobs. And I think about how we grew up in the projects, and I would just love to give back to people, not just like in this country, but across the world who are in need, who don't have the resources that I could potentially offer them, that anybody could offer them who has money. They don't have those resources. I want to maybe provide scholarships to kids who need it. I want to provide food and educational resources to the kids who need it and want it, and to families that are in desperate need. Like that's my goal. Okay, so that's why I work so hard on all these things, is because I want to live a life where money is no object to me at that point. I don't have to worry about it. I can just give it away to anybody who I believe truly needs it. Okay. Now let's see. So we have another one. Would love to collaborate with you. I know hundreds of nurses, etc. How can I get in touch with you? You can reach out to us at info@mapmypay.com. So I'll just put it in the chat. Our email is info@mapmypay.com. Okay. All right. So yeah, and cool. Thanks for being a new member. Then we have Elaine. Oh, Elaine, you're probably not here anymore, but thank you, Elaine. Love this, Jason. If you need early investors, hit me up. Elaine, I thought you were building your own app. We got to talk about that. But thanks for letting me know. Yeah, we received over 200 submissions for people who were interested from that one story that I posted. 200 at least. This was before we even had an app. So yes, thank you so much. Okay. Then we have Nurse Bondum. I hope I'm Bondum. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But I know you've been on our chats in the past. I know you've been following us for so long. So thank you for always supporting us. That's right. Most people who own businesses for nurses aren't nurses. Yes, that's true. Okay, Chat GPT is definitely a lifesaver. Definitely 100%. Okay. And oh, awesome. Thank you so much for that contribution. Absolutely would love to work with you, my friend. I believe in what you do. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Perplexity is another good AI. I know about Perplexity. Yes, I use it. I use it every now and then. So I have so many AI chatbots that I use, and that's one of them. Okay, and then we have free. Yes, this is free. For Professor Cutie Pie is going to be a free app. But again, if you want some premium things in the future, that will come at a cost, right? Because it's going to require us to add more data to the database. It's expensive, so we have to pay for it somehow. I can't continuously just give it out for free. And again, we're offering the CEUs at a very discounted rate, right? So you'll pay for those CEUs $25 if we can get it to that point. I'm gonna like have another live stream and really talk about it in the future to let you guys know exactly what is going to be included in the plus or premium plans. Um, and we have a question here. I currently live in Miami, Florida. As a new grad, I make $33 to $38 with night shift differential, and the cost of living just doesn't make sense. You know, this is what I hear from nurses in Florida constantly, constantly. The majority of nurses that come to Northern California are either from Texas or from Florida. And believe it or not, also even like New York, which is crazy. Like, I mean, but New York, the cost of living is so high. The pay is also not as good as you would think. The highest hourly rate that I've seen in New York City, and this is also from speaking to coworkers who work there still, is that you're gonna probably get at most maybe $83 an hour, and that's at the highest end in New York City, and that's also for a per diem nurse, right? But here, let me just show you. If you're a per diem nurse, this is ridiculous, right? Let me just share this screen. Let me see. Is it being shared? Hold on. No, let me just share the screen to show you how ridiculous it is for per diem nurses. Because if you're per diem, oh my gosh, you if you have a partner who can provide you with health insurance, you are going to be set for life. Okay, so let's go to the dashboard. Let's look at this again, and maybe I can enlarge this, see if that works. Okay, so you select per diem. Let's do per diem nights. If you're a per diem shift nurse, you're making $25,000 a month, right? If you pick up an extra four. But let's just look at the hourly rate though. I'm going to change this to 0 because you're not working any number of hours, right? So you got to give us some time to update. Okay, $139 at Kaiser, 149 at El Camino. What? That is insane. That is insane, guys. If you think that's insane, please put it in the chat because, like, this is doctor level salaries right here. This is more than travel nurses here. So, if you are someone who can get your insurance from a partner and you can come to California and work as a per diem nurse, you guys are going to be set. You just take time off when your partner gets time off. You can pick up when your partner is working, or you can alternate your schedules if you have kids. It's the best of both worlds. Okay, so all right, let me answer a few more questions. I keep saying a few, but I really love answering your questions, guys. So if you have more questions, please let me know. There's 40 people in the chat right now. Okay, more questions. Let's see. All right. Professor Cutie Pie said, "Map my pays for you, even as a new grad. Your world is so open right now. I encourage you to use the resources so you can plan on your very best options." That is so true. The best time to start planning for your future as a nurse is right now, regardless of where you are in your stage, in the stages. Because if you're a new grad, you need to find out how much you're going to get paid. This is information that we don't get when we're in school, and I want all of us to have access to it. Okay. Chat GPT would help me. How would Chat GPT help me? Start learning how to write prompts on Chat GPT. If you can learn how to ask it questions, you can get the best answers that you will never be able to find by going to Google or any other search database out there. Okay, 9 days in a row. So Monica is working 8 days and then off for one and then on for one. But she forgot to put her availability that one day, so she might pick up that extra day. It might be 10 days in a row. She works 8-hour shifts, by the way. Yes, shout out to Monica. Okay. How easy is it for an internationally trained nurse to come work in Northern California? It's extremely difficult, guys. It's extremely difficult. However, if you can get into another state like Arizona, I believe it's one of them. Arizona has the least requirements for nurses that are international. So if you can go to Arizona and then apply for work in Northern California through an agency, that's the fastest route. Okay, so I would recommend that route. I've interviewed several nurses in the past who have come from the Philippines to Canada, then to the US, or from the Philippines straight to the US. And that's how many of them are doing it. So it's either Arizona or Texas. Look into either of those two. I think Arizona is gonna be a little bit easier. Okay. And then we're almost done with these questions. You really opened my eyes on this field I used to see at nurses as a miserable job, or nursing as a miserable job. Ah, tell me about it. I know what it's like, man. When I worked in New York, I was miserable like most of the time. The only thing that actually allowed me to feel some sense of enjoyment was the people that I worked with, right? Because I felt this connection in New York that I don't feel it as much where I'm at today. And I think it's just because of the environment that I work and live in. It's not conducive to like community. Whereas in New York, you want to hang out with somebody, there's parks, there's restaurants, there's everything nearby. We don't have that over here. And yeah, like I miss that a lot. But in terms of my job, I am more satisfied now with my job than I've ever been before. Even on the days that I may feel miserable, I look back to when I first started as a nurse and I used to work at Jamaica Hospital in New York, in Queens, New York. That was probably the worst hospital I ever worked in. It definitely was. And I always put my current situation in perspective to what it used to look like before. So think about things like that. And always, if as a nurse, if you're not happy with your current situation, change it. Okay. Don't make up excuses for yourselves. Just change it. You can change it. There's nurses that say that they can't move because of this reason or that reason. And look at me and Monica. We left everything behind. We left all our family and we miss them every single day, right? Like we miss New York. I grew up in New York. That's my home. We left all of that because we wanted a better life for ourselves. And you have to look out for yourself first in order for you to be able to look out for other people. Now look where we are at right now. Had it not been for us moving to California, this app probably would not be coming into existence. So you have to think about yourself when you're not happy and improve your situation because you can, right? So hi from Zambia. Is it Zambia? Zambia? Oh gosh, I don't know how. I'm gonna get like flamed in the comments. Zambia, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it. But thank you. You're all the way in another country. Thank you so much. Okay. Uh, can you show my numbers? Well, Nelly, you got to let me know what the numbers are. So, yeah, I can show your numbers. I don't know if you set them yet, but put it in the chat. I'll pull up your numbers. Okay. Early app users should get the premium for free, early adopters. We're considering that. Yes, that's what we're considering, but um, we haven't implemented it yet. So, yes, that's one thing that we're considering for sure. Okay. I love Gemini with it writes prompts, revises, and fact checks with Boolean search. Okay, so I've tried to use Gemini several times, but I've noticed that I have to reprompt it so much more than I do something like Claude when I'm writing code, for example. So like if I'm writing Python code, Claude is better than ChatGPT. It's also better than Gemini for coding purposes. And also, I've noticed that when it comes, like I edit my spreadsheets, and so far, I've noticed that it fluctuates between Claude and ChatGPT. ChatGPT has been doing a slightly better job in accuracy than Claude with my spreadsheet. So every program is going to be a little bit different, but I need to start using the share screen uh, option with Gemini so that it can actually look at my screen as I'm editing some spreadsheet, for example, or something on my screen. Because I think it would probably do a better job of helping me if I do that. Because if you guys didn't know this, Gemini is Google's version of like an AI chatbot, and it's extremely advanced. So if you're trying to decide between a whole bunch of them, like you can choose Claude, um, ChatGPT, Gemini. There's also Gork, which is, I mean, it's X's version, like Elon Musk's version of ChatGPT. And they say it's a little bit more advanced because it takes real time data into its responses. So that's one you can use as well. Okay, let's see. Any number for Virginia Ashburn area? Well, let's see if we have Virginia. I'm just going to pull up the spreadsheet. Let's see. Healthcare salaries. Share this tab. Okay, and I'm going to share it with you over here on the screen. Whoops, there you go. Oh, let's do this one. Okay, let's just select Virginia, and I'm only going to select registered nurses. So again, you have to change the selections from the checkboxes. Okay, I'm only going to select registered nurses. Okay, registered nurses, and let's choose Virginia on the checkbox too. Okay. Oh, okay, so I got to fix that. Let's do this. And I'm going to check it from here. Hopefully this works. Let's see. Virginia. Okay. Yeah, okay, so that worked. You said you wanted to find out about what's Virginia Ashburn. So where is Ashburn? Um, these are the only ones that the Bureau of Labor Statistics collects income data for. And if you want to find out which one leaves you with the most, if you're owning, it's going to be Washington, Virginia, then Radford, then Newport News. That's if you're owning. But if you choose to rent, you can click on leftover annually if renting. It's going to be Radford, Staunton, and then I don't know how to pronounce that, but there it is. Uh, yeah, you're going to be left with 45,000. That's really low, you know, if you think that doesn't even take into account your other expenses. Like let's say you have utilities and bills. Let's say you spend about $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year that you spend on, you know, miscellaneous expenses and utilities, and which means you're only going to have $21,000 left over every year, which is not too bad. But you know, you go somewhere else like this, and you have $90,000 left over if you're renting. Just a thought. Okay, let's go back over here. Two more questions, and then we're gonna have to end it there because it's 1:28. I was supposed to go to the gym. I finally started going yesterday, and I'm like, I was gonna go today. I told Monica this morning, I'm like, I'm going to the gym today. She was like, wow, good job. Because we both went yesterday after 3 months of not going because of the app and us being in the Philippines and all these other things, right? Okay, so does California have good tacos? Asking for a friend. Okay, so I here's the thing. We ate enough tacos already that I think I've grown tired of tacos. I know that sounds awful, but I'm just like I want more variety. Okay, I feel like there's not enough variety where we live at least. If you're in LA, there's definitely more food variety. New York City for us is like the pinnacle of food variety because just you can get anything and everything that you want to eat. But what I hear from my friends is that California is the best place for tacos. Some people beg to differ and say that's going to be Texas. So you're going to have people arguing between both states saying that their state is better. So yeah, there's good tacos here. I'll leave it at that. Okay, let's see. Will there be a beta test for us to try the app out? If you're an Android user, I may be able to send out a beta app because it's hard to do for Apple users. If you have an iPhone, for example, you have to sign up for a like a test flight account, and I don't want to have you guys do all of this. It's too many steps in order for you to beta test it. So anyone who has an Android, if you just subscribe to our newsletter, go to our website, mapmypay.com, and click on the top link there. Again, let me just share it so you guys can see if you just joined. Um, share this tab. Go to mapmypay.com, subscribe to our newsletter so that I can hopefully share. Here we go. So I can hopefully share that link if we don't release our app right away, because I'm still waiting for that Duns and Bradstreet number, which can take up to 30 days. So if this app is not released in the next week or two, then you guys can, I can just send you the beta file for Android users so you can download it. If you're an Apple user, unfortunately, Apple does not have that option. So I can't send it to you if you're an iPhone user. Okay, but join the waitlist. All right, let's go and back to the questions. Whew, lots of questions, guys. I'm talking for so long. Please do a video about how to use ChatGPT to find the best chances. Man, there's a lot of videos out there. Honestly, if there's enough, if there are enough requests and interests out there for me to do that, I will do it. But nobody has really asked, and I don't know how. I mean, I could make something related to nursing, but we'll see. I don't know. Okay. I'm an hour and a half late. Eliza, is it Eliza or Alyssa? Well, thanks for joining. You can always rewind the live stream. It's going to be available for everybody to see. But we're trying to launch this app, and I'm hoping that everyone who follows us will start using it so that we can all be transparent about our salaries through it. Okay. I needed to hear this from the leak. I believe that's your name, the leak. I needed to hear this. Me and my husband have a 1-year-old, and we have family here to help, but we always talk about relocating. Believe it or not, I've met a lot of families who left everything. Like, they may be planning on having a child, or they currently have 1 or 2 children. They left everything, all their family behind, and they came to Northern California. And they say it is the best decision they've ever made. Hands down, the best decision they've ever made. And if anyone you work with tries to tell you otherwise about California, because I've seen this before, there are people in other states who are going to claim that California is way too political, that that the taxes are way too high, that there's no way they can maintain ratios. If you come to California, it's a huge state. You don't have to be involved in all the politics of what California has. Monica and I have driven across all of California, I think at least 2 times, if not 3 times. And there is so much beauty in California. It's not all just homelessness. Believe it or not, the majority of it is not actually homelessness if you drive outside of the big cities. So LA, obviously, San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento even. There's a lot of homelessness there. But if you drive through any of the other cities in the US, I mean, in California, you're not going to experience that. And I speak with nurses all the time who have worked in other parts of California, and they don't experience the homelessness as much as those nurses who work in LA, San Francisco, Sacramento, Oakland, and all these other bigger cities. So you should consider it. I really, I always try to push everybody to move to Northern California. Okay. What was the process of getting a California license? So it used to take a longer time than it does now. Right now, basically what you do is you endorse your license, right? So if you already have a license in your state and you're in New York, right? Because you said this right here, and you're in New York. So what you do is you go to the California State Gov website, and actually not State Gov. It's like let me just share it with you so I can tell you what I'm talking about. Endorse California license, RN license in California, or to California. Okay, let me just share it real quick. Real quick. Everything is real quick, right? Okay. So I'm going to share this tab. Hope you guys can see that. Okay, you go to this California Board of Registered Nursing site, and this is where it says licensure by endorsement. You're gonna follow these steps. It's really just like super easy steps. Um, it's tedious, but it's easy. So you're gonna go here and click on, well, let me zoom in so you guys can see it. Register for a Breeze account. You're gonna click there, you're gonna continue to Breeze, and you're gonna create an account, sign in, yada, yada, yada. Let me see if I can do it. Should I? I don't want, I mean, you guys can see my license number. That's fine. I don't care. I'll show that to you. Okay. So this is my license number. But okay. So what you do is you're going to click on here, registered nurse, manage your license. You're going to start this process. You're going to endorse, click select. You're going to endorse your license. And then you're going to follow the steps one by one in order to get to the final step where it's basically you submitting your app. But okay, you create that account. At the end of the application process, you're going to have the opportunity to attach documents. And part of that will be like, let's say, letters of explanation. Oh, this is for students who had like discipline in the past. It'll be something like, I think I attached my transcript, my college transcript. You're going to have to get live scan fingerprinted. So what that means is they need to get your fingerprints through, I believe, like these government agencies in California, so that they can make sure that you're not a criminal and all these other things. You can do that where you currently live in your home state, or you can come to California, just take a vacation out here, come to California and just do it in person over here. And I believe that's like the faster way, in my opinion, to do it. So I would just come to California on a vacation, travel out here, look at the different cities, see where you really would want to work and live, and then get fingerprinted out here and submit your application that way because it'll be processed faster. And it takes about 4 weeks on average, about 4 to 6 weeks for your license to get approved and for you to be able to work here in California. All right. What is the best email address to send you a quick email? If you want to send an email to my Nurses to Riches account, then it's what is it? I believe it's info at nursestoriches.com or info at mapmypay.com. So either one of those two. You can also, oh, sorry, it's contact at nursestoriches.com or info at mapmypay.com. So you can send me an email at any one of those emails. Okay. I interview for an on-call position with Kaiser this Tuesday. Any advice? It's for procedural nursing. I say this with any job that you apply to and interview for. At the end of the day, the answer you need to give is the answer that the employer wants to hear, right? So you think about your answers from that point of view. When I go in for an interview, I've never not been offered a job other than a job. I applied for like a tech position. Like it wasn't a content facilitator position in a tech company recently, like that. That was like end of last year. I applied for that one. I didn't get it because obviously I have no tech experience. But every job I've ever applied for, I've always gotten it. Let's say you go in for a job interview and they ask you a question about how you would, let's say, how you would treat a patient that was difficult to handle. You obviously, the answer most people will say is like, you know what, if the patient is bothering me in real life, right? If the patient is bothering me too much, I'm just gonna leave the room. I'll leave it at that. I'm out. Okay, but I always say something to the effect of, and this actually, for the most part, this is very true. I always treat my patients as if they were my own family, because in all honesty, I would want my family members to be treated fairly, equally, and with respect, regardless of the situation. So when you answer a question, always keep that in mind. They really care about patient satisfaction scores. So you need to make the patients happy and safe in every response that you give, right? Okay. All right. So that's it with that one. All right. We have Ride for Life. Okay. Congrats, Jason. It's nice to see you, to see your app coming out. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Another question. Which is the best city for nurses moving from Canada to the US? Again, I've mentioned this before, but Arizona is one of the easiest if you want to move from Canada or any other country. It has the least number of requirements. And I believe you don't even need a social security number if you apply through Arizona. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what one of my guests uh, on my podcast previously told me. Okay, the thing, so from Gloriana, the thing is everything balances out. Florida has terrible pay and ratios. The high rent and high insurance is over any taxes you pay in California. Um, yeah, I guess is that in relation to Florida? Yeah. I mean, so the pay sucks in Florida, first of all, right? The cost of living is increasingly high. I interviewed a nurse from many nurses from Florida, but one in particular. He is actually part of the one of the unions over there in one of the major hospitals in Florida, and he said that he basically pays almost pretty much the same in rent or mortgage in where he lives in Florida than what a nurse would pay it somewhere in Sacramento. But he gets paid like three quarters, if not half, of what we get paid out here. So yeah, it's like you really have to take into account all these things. Okay, are LVNs in the spreadsheet? Yes. Okay, let me just go back to the spreadsheet and share that with you. I have in this spreadsheet, I think over 41 professions, right? So here we go. I hope you can see that. And let me go to this one here and share it. Okay, so if you select licensed practical nurses, there it is. It's going to upload. I mean, it's going to update. Oh, you know what? I have to unselect registered nurses. See, that's what I meant. Okay, unselect that. Now we have LPNs on our list. There we go. And you can find out how much they get paid. 39,000 annually if they live in Corcoran. This is after taxes and rent. If they live in Corcoran, again, nobody really wants to live there. There's also Hanford. There's Oakland, right? There's more cities over here. Um, and that's, again, if you don't work overtime. If you're smart, you're going to pick up overtime. In California, after 8 hours is time and a half. After the 12th hour is double time. So you can make twice as much, at least twice as much as this after taxes and rent if you're smart about how you spend your money. And then, you can also look at like this other part of the spreadsheet that I have over here. You can select any role. So like, let's look at LPNs, for example, and you can find out what the highest paying cities are, right? And then you can also find out what the lowest paying cities are. And you can do that for any role. There's a lot of information in this spreadsheet. But okay, I think that's it. That was the last question. So let me just go back to this screen over here. Okay. Right. You guys, thank you so much for all of these questions. Oh, you want to see the New York numbers? Okay, you just know what to say to me, right? Because like I love showing numbers, so I can't leave until I show you the numbers. Okay, here we go. Nelly wants to see the numbers of a New York nurse. Let's go over here. And you know what I ultimately want to do is get salary data for nurses in all these countries, like objective salary data for nurses that work in all these states. I mean, for nurses that work in particular hospitals with unions. So if you're a nurse in New York, I would love to include your union's numbers in our database so that you can find out exactly to the T how much you would get paid based on the number of years of experience that you have. All right, so let's look at this. Let's say you're an RN, registered nurse. Remember, like, look at all of these professions. Let me just scroll down so you can see, right? Uh, Hold on. Let's go. Yep. See all of that? These are all of the professions I have on the list. There we go. Let me just scroll down. And all of this data, the salary data, was collected from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I included like UI, UX designers, and web developers simply because, and I think computer engineers is in there, if I'm not mistaken. Where is it? Computer programmers. Simply because I know there's some nurses out there that are thinking about transitioning into tech. So I just thought I'd include it. Okay, so let's look at registered nurses now. Hold on. Registered nurses. Okay, and you want to look at New York specifically. So let's choose New York. And you're gonna be surprised by this because it's not gonna be New York, New York, if that's what you guys were thinking. That's actually at the bottom. Look at that. All the even though you're making the median salary, right? This is the median across all of New York City. So I know there's going to be nurses out there that are going to say that I make more than that. I make 145,000. I make 135,000. But we're looking at all of the salaries across New York City. There are many hospitals that pay less than this actually. Um, so 103,000 is the median. Then we have home prices. Let's look by home prices. What do you have left over if you own? So the median home price, and if you can look this up, right? So let's go to New York, New York, New York, New York median home price. I'm going to share this tab, right? And let's just click on, okay, this one right here. This is for New York County. Let's go back. Actually, that would be correct, but New York, New York. Okay, $763,000, right? And it's pretty close. I haven't updated it in like a week, right? So I update it once every, I don't know, like 3 months or so. Oh wait, let me go share the screen. Sorry. Okay, so you see that it's 752,000, right? And then that means your mortgage is going to be about 5,300, somewhere in that ballpark figure. You're only going to have this much left if you own every month $683. And this is before you even consider groceries, utilities, transportation, your car, insurance, all those other things. That's why it's at the bottom. But at the top, you have Elmira, New York, right? And it's still not the best, but you're left with $4,100 a month or $49,000 a year if you choose to own. Let's see what's going to happen if you choose to rent. So if you choose to rent, Elmira is still number one. New York, New York is at the bottom. You get to keep 32,600, but this is before you account for the cost of other things like miscellaneous expenses. Right? Yeah, so there you have it. Okay. Guys, stop asking me questions about spreadsheets and numbers because it's too enticing. I have to talk about it. But I have to go. Oh, now, okay, maybe okay, now I have a few other people in here. Let's see. I live in LA and thinking about, okay, so this person asked, I live in LA and thinking about moving to Sacramento area. Can you please suggest the best cities? First and foremost, I need to tell you, Sacramento is the most competitive market, in my opinion, the most competitive market in the US. Nurses from California want to move to Sacramento. Nurses out of state want to move to Sacramento because the cost of housing is less here than it is in most parts of California, and the pay is so good. So it's extremely competitive. But some cities you can look at are Roseville, Elk Grove, Folsom, El Dorado Hills, Auburn, and yeah, those are just a few. There's many others, but those are just a few. Okay. How much is the spreadsheet? The spreadsheet on our website, nursestoriches.com, is $39.99. But if you buy the basic plan of our course for nurses that want to move to Northern California, the basic plan I think is like $149. It includes what is it? The top salary spreadsheet. And it also includes like several other things. You can just like look into it. I put it on our website, nursestoriches.com. And that's $149. It also includes the spreadsheet. That's $39.99 for the spreadsheet, but you get it included. If you get the second tier, it's $249. You get all our spreadsheets. You get the top salary spreadsheet. You also, not all of them, but most of them. You get the top salary spreadsheet. You get the healthcare salary spreadsheet, which is the one that I just showed you previously, comparing all of the professions and cities. But if you buy the highest tier, that one includes every spreadsheet we have, in addition to one-to-one VIP calls that I have with my members. It's getting to a point where I'm like getting overwhelmed with these one-to-one calls, but I wanted to do it because I wanted you guys to feel like you're getting your money's worth. So that really, honestly, that program that I created is what allowed me to invest in developing this app. So I've been able to make enough that now I can pay a team of developers to develop an app that I believe will change nursing, the future of nursing altogether. Okay. And Nanelle, welcome to the live stream. I haven't seen you in a while. Nanelle is a nurse that interviewed me. She's in the UK. She interviewed me on her channel. She has a YouTube channel. Interviewed me like 2 years, I think almost 3 years ago, actually. And when she interviewed me, I think I got like 7,000 subscribers in 1 month, which is insane. She had so many subscribers. I'm so blessed she even contacted me. We've been friends ever since. Okay. Wait, California overtime is double after 12 hours. Yes, it's the only state that offers time and a half after 8 hours and double time after 12. In addition to that, on the seventh day, you also get paid double time. If you work 7 days in a row, you get double time. I believe it's after 8 hours, but some employers like Kaiser and a few others will pay you double time if you work that seventh day in a row. They will pay you double time for the entire shift. Whether you work 2 hours for that day or 12 hours, they'll pay you double time for the entire shift. Okay. P.S. I have little kids, so I am looking for a city with good school systems as well. Yes, Jenny, that's really important to me too. Add cybersecurity consultant. Okay, I can do that. I mean, any suggestions I'm willing to add, I can add that as well. I'll see if I can get it. If it's in the database for the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I'll add it to our database too. Cost of living is one problem for us to solve. However, either today or a future video touch on culture between hospital systems. I'm led to believe nursing is different wherever you go. It really is. It really is. So yeah, that's actually a good topic to come up with. Okay, it's great to catch your live. I'm so grateful for the information that you provide. Thanks so much. Thank you, Mickey. I really appreciate you guys. I love it when you guys are on the live stream. I was not expecting this much engagement on my first day back after so many days, so many months off. I think the last time we had a live stream was like in August of last year. Can NPs now ask, can NPs and CRNAs use the app too? 100%. Anybody can use the app, right? And man, I wish I could show you guys the app. Let me see if it works on my phone, because we're trying to work out some kinks. But let me see if it works on my phone. I'll show it to you guys. We message our development team because they're trying to work out some issues that we're having with it. Okay, so it's not loading right now, but basically, let me see. Okay, I'll show you. It's not working right now, but I'm going to show you guys. Can I join this live stream? Let's see. I'm going to try to share this with you guys. Hold on a second. And work with me here, because it's like there's issues with it and the data is not showing up. And we need to fix that. Okay, so let's see. Hold on. I have so many different tabs open. Oh my gosh, there's too many. Here we go. I got to share my entire screen with you guys. And let's see. Here we go. Stop sharing that. Present. Stop screen. Okay, let me share my app screen. Again, but the data is not showing up. So you got to like kind of envision what it's going to look like. Share screen. I'm going to share the entire screen. Let's see the window. Here we are. Entire screen. Okay, I'm going to just share this here. All right, so this is what it currently looks like. Again, let me just show you the Figma file so you can see what that might look like if it were to load. And the Figma file itself is not updated, so you're not going to see the entire thing. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Okay, Figma here. Okay, I hope you can see this when it loads. This is the Figma file, which is basically a sketch of what the app is going to look like. So the home screen is going to look like something like this, but again, this is the old version of it. It's not going to look like this exactly. It's going to look better than this. We're going to have more, features and data that's presented there. So let me go back to the app, and this is the app, right? So when I did my onboarding process, I selected my current city where I currently work and what state I'm located in. I can change this and enter in a value manually. So like if I make, let's say $130,000 a year, I can enter that there. If I pay, let's say $40,000 a year for my housing expenses, I can put that there. You can actually, yeah, you can put that there. And then when you go to the bottom, you will either add a city down here. Again, right now, it's not there because the data's not populating. I'm so upset with the development team. This is why we need to hire in-house, because if we have somebody who's working directly with us, I can just literally call him right now and say, hey, we're having issues with the database. It's not showing any of our data on the app. Can you please fix it? They can fix it right now. We can't do that with the development team that's located in India. So this is why we needed to hire somebody, and he's going to start working like in the next week or so. All right. But yeah, these are the salaries right now that you can compare your current salary to. Or if you start, when you create your profile, if you select in the profile right here during the onboarding process that you are a nurse practitioner, then that home screen is going to show the median salary for a nurse practitioner in San Francisco, unless you change it and you change it manually. But once you do that, for any profession you choose, and again, like it filtered automatically to nurse practitioners. So if you've selected cities to compare, they would show up here specifically for nurse practitioners. If you want to compare your current salary as a nurse practitioner to a nurse anesthetist, because maybe you want to become a nurse anesthetist, you can do that. And then you can select this, right here, you're going to select the role of a nurse anesthetist in California. And then the cities, the cities are not showing up here because the data is not in there. Well, we need to fix that. Okay. But you would have a state and a city that you can select from the list. You save it. And now it would show you, let's say, for example, you choose New York, New York, right? Now, New York, New York would show up right here. Let me see if I can show you this. Hold on. Yeah, okay, I can't. I was trying to show you a highlighter. But yeah, it would show up here. And if you click on it, if you click on the city, first of all, it would show you this data right here. More than this data, actually, a lot more than this. But it would show you the annual salary, the cost of housing, and the hourly rate. Again, these are generic numbers, but it would actually show you the realistic numbers. And then when you click on this city, it'll take you to the bottom and it'll say something to the effect of, if you were to move to this city as a certified nurse anesthetist, then you would make this much more, right? Or you would have this much more left over on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis. There's more data that we will add to that. Like when you click on it, maybe it's going to take you to this page right over here. It'll take you to this page. So you can see more data about that specific city if you click on it, right? And it'll tell you how much you have left over. Again, this is outdated information, so just keep that in mind. It'll tell you the licensing requirements, the CEUs, and all that stuff. It'll have all of that in there. Okay. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. But yes, you can use it for if you're a CRNA, a nursing assistant, a nursing student. You can use it for pretty much any nursing profession you can specialty you can think of that the Bureau of Labor Statistics collects data for, and that's one of them. CRNAs, NPs, midwives, nursing assistants, registered nurse, LPNs, and so on and so forth. And okay, do you go live on TikTok? I do not. I have not yet. Maybe I will in the future, but I really should, right? Hi, Nanelle, Griselda, Team Ghana. Awesome. Okay, it's worth every penny. Yeah, this is going to be free for everybody. So at least, I guess it's worth every penny because it's free, right? All right. Anthony said, LOL, API calls, I guess. Yeah, there's a lot of API calls. Yes, and that's what's causing the issue, I think. Will it show the hospitals that offer specific rates? That is the goal. I will include that in the future. Yes, I plan to do that. And it's a work in progress. We can only do so much, one thing at a time. And I guess that's it. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining, everyone. There's so many of you that were on this live stream and you asked a lot of questions. And again, if you guys want to be notified when our app goes live, please go to mapmypay.com and click to get notified. Also, if you're an Android user, we may offer you or send you the link to download the app, right? So go ahead and subscribe and follow us on Instagram, Instagram .com/mapmypay or Instagram.com/nurses to riches. See you guys next week. And make sure you watch our other videos where me and Monica talk about our salaries all the time. And I compare other rates across all these US cities and in California. See you guys next week.